What if I told you that if we fail to pay attention to the activities that are taking place in the global macroeconomic environment in the next 6 to 12 months, we could be facing our own doomsday, a financial doomsday. According to Jim Rogers, a well-respected US investor as well as traveler and businessman, he tells us that in the next year, or the year 2019, we will experience the biggest global financial crisis we have ever seen. Now, you might ask yourself, why is this happening just when the World Bank has upgraded revision on a global economic growth forecast to 1.9% for the year 2017? Well, it's because quite a number of things have happened in the last 18 months. 2016, as we know, was not a fantastic year. Of course, some political elections, which saw some interesting characters being appointed, a Twitterati extraordinaire, one who's very vocal about the political stance and policies that he looks to implement, some which also aid to bolster economic activity, tax reforms, but also might curb globalization as a trend. With the walls that he plans to build in Mexico and, of course, questionable relationships with Russia, the United States is not in a great position right now, even though it's recording levels of 4% in unemployment. But the cause for concern is how sustainable the Trump rally on Wall Street has been. If that's not enough, Theresa May is also facing her own pressures. She's officially kicked off the Brexit divorce talks with the EU, but that again is on shaky ground. There's rising inflation in the UK economy, and it's not working well for employees and customers within the UK zone, namely because their income is not increasing at the same rate of inflation. So the cost of living is becoming significantly higher. We come closer to home, and as you can tell, things are not A-okay as our political leaders would like us to believe. This is because there's increasing political uncertainty now more than ever. A technical recession in South Africa, downgrades from top 3 ratings agency firms, and a complete lack of confidence from the business sector, from you and I as consumers, and from our neighboring countries who rely so heavily on us for political as well as economic direction. Now, you might ask yourself, why is this so important? Because it's so far-fetched. It's beyond my own expertise and my areas of control. But each of us here probably have a pension fund, retirement annuity, a unit trust, or even some other kind of investment that might have exposure to the market. And just to give you some interesting facts with regard to the all-share exchange being the JSE, had you invested your money on the index about 3 years ago, till today, you've probably made a return on your investment of 0.3%. 3 years, minimal growth. It's impacting our pockets. It's impacting the decisions that we'll have to make as pension fund owners and beneficiaries of these in the next few years. And it's also impacting on our wealth creation strategies. So which direction are you headed into? If you don't focus on the decisions that you need to make now regarding your economic strategy, regarding your personal wealth creation direction, you might be headed in the wrong direction. And all of this comes down to us having an honest overview and review of our financial situation. A very tricky stance because sometimes we don't like to deal with honesty, knowing that we probably owe more to the bank than we own in our own names in personal assets. But the trick is, don't leave it for too late. A good friend of mine and colleague in the industry has found herself pressing the pause button on her personal life. She can't purchase her own assets at the moment because she found herself in her early 30s having to move back home. Not because she made some bad financial decisions, but 23 years ago, when her parents bought their home in the leafy suburbs of Alberton, south of Johannesburg, they didn't expect to not be able to pay the bond as they've both reached retirement. 5% of South Africans are not going to be able to retire comfortably. And as such, her parents are having to sell their home. She has to apply for a bond to purchase a townhouse and live with her parents once more. An honest review and reflection of our financial status is critical, not just when it serves us well because we want to buy that German sedan, but because we need to ensure that the goals and objectives that we've set for ourselves and our loved ones are realistic. And sometimes it comes down to the simple stuff. That cup of coffee you might have stopped to get at the garage, drinks with the girls, braais with the guys, the pair of shoes that you didn't really need, but oh wow, they look good. We need to monitor those payments, and sometimes we're able to do that in the latest technologies that we use on a day-to-day basis. You might have been on WhatsApp just a few moments ago. How about downloading 22/7, an app by Old Mutual, or Good Budget, Mint as well. Banking apps and applications that help you budget and monitor the amount of money that flows in and out of your account, not only for your day-to-day expenses, but also monitoring the allocation that you make to the investment options that you have. So basically determining your net asset value, right in the pocket of your in your back pocket, or in the power of your hands. But once you've done that, it doesn't help to have a clear view of either how depressing your financial statement might be or optimistic, but we need to seek advice. And sure, in South Africa, the landscape between financial advisors and consumers hasn't been a positive one, but I must tell you that the legal landscape is changing. Why go to a doctor when you actually can't afford to pay the fees for the consultation? Well, that's what South Africa looks to do as National Treasury is introducing what they call the Retail Distribution Review. An opportunity for average South Africans to access certified financial planners at a minimal cost, which suits their budget and, of course, the needs that they require from these advisors. Seek honest advice, and it's in these times that we also need to ask the critical questions from these financial advisors and brokers. How has your stock portfolio been performing? Why are the costs so exorbitant? What other opportunities and asset classes are available for you to actually put your money into? An honest and clear reflection. And if you're not comfortable with who you're speaking to, it's okay to change. What we also need to do, though, once we have these tools, is to implement. And sometimes many of us in the room suffer from politics syndrome, where we all talk a good game. We all have great financial ideas, but implementing the strategies is actually what holds us back. And this is where we need to take these tools and cultivate an environment of true wealth creation. You might recall a time when you were told that money doesn't grow on trees. Well, what if I tell you that if you take the review honestly of your financial situation, the advice that you receive from professionals in the industry, and use the tools that they give you, even if they pull you back in what you appear to be living in your current standard and lifestyle, but implementing those tools and ensure that you not only fertilize the ground and environment within which you work in and operate in, ensure that there's adequate financial literacy for future generations to absorb and cultivate a true understanding of what money is, then by the time you get to the trunk, the branches, the stems and the leaves, you'll be enjoying the fruits of your labor of true wealth creation, where your money will truly grow on trees. It's now or never. Make the decision to ensure that you are on the right financial journey and true wealth creation strategies for yourselves and your loved ones. Thank you.